The city is dealing with a deficit due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How will you help in balancing the budget?
That's a great question. I do rely a lot on my experience as a certified public accountant. That I have a lot of experience dealing with companies and organizations, large governments, and auditing them and actually really understanding the financial processes that they go through. You correctly identify that there is a massive deficit due to COVID. We had to estimate our budget, our revenue estimate down by $25 million. So as a city councilwoman, what we really have the ability to do is the budget will go to city council. We have the oversight to see what's been proposed in that budget, and we can offer amendments. And so we can actually see where dollars are being spent, and do we agree with that? Do we think that those priorities are in line? And if we don't, then we go through a budget process where we have discussions, we have meetings, we have hearings, and then we can eventually amend it if we need to. And so that's really the process you go through. But more importantly, I like to be more collaborative so I can offer input up front to say, is this the priorities that we have right now in spending money here? And so I really relish that process, and I hope we can continue to work on it. And just one more final point on the budget. We did have a lot of CARES Act money, a lot of federal funds that came into the city of Toledo that has put us in a much better position financially than we anticipated even in June. We weren't sure the support we would get and what that would actually translate to our government, but we do have to look forward to 2021. That's the budget we're working on now, and how are we going to offset the losses due to a downward economy that Toledo still has right now, and what priorities will we implement? Is I think every city council person is grappling with that right now.
Small businesses are being hurt by a lack of customers, which leads to a lack of income. How can we as a city support our small businesses, and city council further support our small businesses?
I was really encouraged when COVID-19 hit. We, as I mentioned before, did get an influx of CARES Act money, and one bucket that we put that into immediately was helping small businesses. We put that into what was called an Emerge grant, and it was tailored specifically to Toledo small businesses to give them some funds so they could maintain their business. And I think that was a great use of our resources, a great testament to how we do invest in small businesses, especially when they need us. We can, of course, always as city council encourage more small businesses. We as a city do engage in business, and so maybe we need to look at how can we contract more with small businesses, and what services can they provide the city of Toledo.
Crime is on the rise among our youth, while the Toledo Police Department is recruiting new officers to patrol the streets. Do you think there is something different the city can do to promote public safety?
Well, I do think it's important to adequately fund our public safety forces. I'd be remiss. My husband is a first responder. He is a firefighter, so that's always important in our house, in our household, and I think to a lot of Toledoans that we adequately fund our public safety forces. Earlier this year, I was able to help fund that class that you're talking about. So making sure that they do have what they need to do their job properly. I'm also very encouraged because I just got a call from a Toledo police officer who is really working on recruitment of new officers, because I think we do need to see more diversity. We need to see more women. We need to see people that reflect our community in our police officers. I think that makes a stronger force. I think that builds public trust. I think that builds more communication and better cities. So I really am encouraged by seeing that action. But again, we always have to make sure that we adequately fund them so they can do their job properly and with accountability.
Black Lives Matter activists say that police reform legislation that was passed in Toledo City Council weeks ago hasn't been upheld by law enforcement. How will you change that?
That's discouraging. I have not heard that. So that's news to me, you telling me that. We need to hold our police officers, our police department accountable. That's something that I say about not just police, but every city department. If they're not doing their job, they do need to be held to account. What can city council do about that? Obviously, we work with the administration. We need to hold them accountable, right? We need to start making legislation and ensuring that it gets enforced. It really is that simple. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention. I was not aware of that, and I'd love to actually learn more about what that looks like and how we really can get to the bottom of it. Whether it's raising awareness and just making sure that people know that, does our police chief know that that's happening, right? And so maybe you letting me know is that first step to actually seeing some accountability and seeing that our legislation is enforced, that we pass.
Do you think there needs to be something else on the ballot that can get people and Toledo voters to come to a consensus about road repairs in the proper way to make sure those repairs are done because it is a matter of public safety?
We do have 2 ballot initiatives this November, and one is for our 3/4%, which basically is our income tax that has funded our public safety, our general fund, our parks, and all the basic city functions that we do. And that's been on the ballot for the last, 40, 25 years. It's been, we rely on that. It's about $58 million. New this year is issue 4, which addresses exactly what you're talking about. It is solely for road repair. There's been a separate fund that if this does pass, it will only be used for road repair. So, as a voter, you have to consider, is this new tax, is this an investment you want to make? Obviously asking taxpayers to pay more is hard right now. It's hard, but you also have to ask yourself, what kind of city do you want to live in? And is that investment worth it? And I always look to the voters to say what is actually right. They will tell us. They will let us know if this is a priority of theirs. And so you will let your voice be heard at the ballot box, specifically to that road repair.
Yes, Mayor Wade Kapsakavage did in fact hold a press conference to introduce those proposals. And I know a lot of people, they were thinking about voting on it. And they said that during a pandemic, it is hard to ask people for more money to do those road repairs. Your opponent, Tony Dia, he says that Democrats have run our city for too long and we need change. What is your response to his statements? And do you think that we do need a change in leadership, more people of different parties running our city?
It's not just a diversity of parties. I think I represent change. I haven't seen a CPA on city council since I've been here. When I joined, I was one of 4 women. I'm young. I'm not. I haven't been in the party politics for long. And so, I do think I represent change. I think there's a lot more types of diversity than just diversity of party that really can contribute to effectuating change in our city and making us more vibrant and more diverse.
Toledo City Council member at large, Katie Moline, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Jaden. This has been a pleasure.